So it's the afternoon of day 4 now, and I had an email this morning from the National Park authorities in response to an email I had sent to them on Friday after I was initially asked to leave the national park with my camera equipment. And that email was pretty straightforward and to the point. It said, you know, in order to get a permit I'd need to apply in Spanish, and the application process takes about 20 days. So they said if I'm already here on the island, they really can only recommend to photograph the nearby areas, nowhere really inside the park. So I'm not going to go back in there with all my gear, because I really think I could just end up getting arrested, and I don't really want to do that. So I came to an area on the north side of the island, and I'm on top of kind of a rolling ridge of cliffs here, and I'm sort of thinking I'm going to be able to get a angle looking down on the cliffs as the sun sets to the west of here tonight. So I've pulled over sort of near to the top of the cliffs here. I'm going to go up there and see what I can find. As far as the rest of the trip here, I've got I think 2 more days, full days left after today, and I'm kind of thinking, well, I've got really 2 choices. I can, you know, go around other areas, look for places outside the national park to photograph, or I can use the time to go back into the national park without my camera and possibly scout locations for a future trip, because it is great here. If it's possible at some point to actually get a permit and come back to photograph the national park, that would absolutely be great, because it is great in there. Yeah, that would be great. It would be great because it's great in there. If I'm able to get back in there and photograph it, that'd be fantastic. So I might just use the remaining time I have here to go back in there and simply scout the area out and see what I can find for future trips. But I'm not sure about that yet. I could just go around looking for subjects outside the national park, so I'll have to think about that. But for now, I'm going to head up to the top of the cliffs here and see what kind of views I can get. Yeah, this is why I didn't drive the hire car up here. This is not the kind of road I would want to take a rental car on, let alone my own car. The road is completely uneven and there's no barrier there, that's just a sheer drop, so I think I made the right choice in deciding to hike up to the top. So I've reached the top and I've got a scene here that I'm quite happy with. To the north there are the islands to the north of Lanzarote, which I actually can't remember the names of right now. I'll put them on the screen. But I'm using the edge of the cliffs here as a nice sweeping line in towards the horizon with all the different islands there, and if I'm lucky, when the sun sets over there, I should get quite some nice light on the islands there. And if I'm even more lucky, quite a bright reflection from the sky if there are some high clouds up there, which I think there's quite a strong possibility of that. So time to hang around here for a little bit, watch the atmosphere and the weather change and set up for a shot. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this. Quite a grand scene. Pretty windy up here, so the light is changing constantly, but there's also quite a lot of atmosphere weather in the distance of the scene of the islands over there, and that seems to be coming in from the northeast, which is incidentally where the clouds are. So it's difficult to say what's going to happen with sunset, whether that's going to translate to a low cloud on the horizon over there later on, which would snuff out the really strong light that you would get towards the end of sunset. If I'm lucky, there'll be quite a lot of good colour, but it really does depend on what the clouds do as they move across from the northeast here. So yeah, other than that, I've been sort of chilling out here, just watching everything as it develops, and as I said, it's changing constantly. So every now and then a car comes up and kind of stops to look at the view for a few seconds. People take a couple of selfies or photograph each other in front of the scene here and then drive back on their way. Yeah, other than that, it's just been me and a weird sort of dog thing, scrawny looking thing that kind of looked at me for 5 minutes and then walked away. Hopefully it wasn't thinking about coming back here and having a pop at me. That's it for now. I'll speak to you in a bit. As far as the technical stuff in this scene goes, it's all very straightforward. I'm shooting at an aperture of f11. The focus is already dialed in on the island there, and because everything else in the frame is very far away from the lens, it should fall off nicely. The shutter speed will depend on the light level at the time, and naturally I'm shooting at an ISO of 100. Compositionally, as I have already said, I'm using the cliffs here as a leading line into the scene of the islands back there. Over the brow of this part of the cliff, just behind that, you can see a town on the island. I don't want that in my frame. I just want the natural landscape. I think the town takes away from the scene, would be a bit of a distraction. So I'm obscuring it by placing my camera so that the town can't be seen. It's obscured by the cliff. Should work out really well. So I think I've had the best of the light as of right now. It doesn't look like there's going to be any more of a sunset. There's quite a lot of low cloud on the horizon there. So I'm going to take that as a cue to move out of here. I've taken quite a few exposures and I don't think I'm going to get anything better than what I've got, but I'm quite happy with a couple of those exposures. Oh boy, it's really getting quite cold up here. Yeah, it's really getting cold. So I'm going to make a move down to the car, but I'm quite pleased with what happened here. One thing I will say is that behind me, the hills down on the main island there got kind of a nice haze on them as the sun was setting behind them. It might be worth coming back here to take an image of that. But yeah, it's time to pack up and get back to the car. It's getting really windy and really cold. yeah, I've definitely had the best of the light.